The following recording is a session held at the NECC 2007 conference. It is Adam Frey and Vicki Davis presenting in the Open Source Pavilion on using wikis in the classroom. The session starts with Adam introducing Vicki.
I'm largely here to support Vicki. She is one of our original K-12 users and has been really extraordinarily helpful to us over the last 2 years in helping us understand what you guys all need in tools for the classroom. I'll try to talk as little as possible. I think Vicki already said, I'd like to take your questions during the session. Feel free to interrupt us or direct the conversation in any direction you'd like us to go. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what a wiki is for those of you who don't know. Quick show of hands, who here has used a wiki already? Okay, savvy audience. I'll give you a quick overview and then I'll actually show you the fundamental components of a wiki, and later on we'll be going through some examples. So do you want to just hit that? Here we go. I call a wiki a web page with an edit button. Try to simplify down to what the core value of this tool is. Web page, click the edit button, change the page, click save. As easy as that. So it's easy for you to edit, it's easy for a group to work on together. We're a little more. It has to be easy to use. Wikis have been around since '92, but in the last couple of years there's been a real effort to try to make them simple and trivial to use for people like yourselves. History is critical because you have to be able to see every version of every page over time. So you edit a page, you click save, someone else edits it, saves again, etc., etc. Every version of every page is saved. You can always go back and look at what happened in the past, who made the change, when, what they changed, for the purposes of assessment, for the purposes of tracking who did what. Is this clear? Is everyone, the accent's all right? It's not too...
Two accents here.
Yeah, two accents. Well, it's your home territory, right?
Yeah.
And the groups thing. It has to be easy, not just for you to use, but for your group to use together. A lot of people ask me what's the difference between a blog and a wiki. A blog is a conversation. It's a stream of journal entries. So if you're interested in writing an ongoing journal about the activities of your classroom, your day, or your group, blog's a great way to do that. A wiki is more about content that evolves over time. So a good example is, let's say you're working on a lesson plan with a few different teachers and you're each contributing to it over, say, a couple of weeks, and you want to come up with a final product. That's what a wiki is good for. Is that clear? Excellent. Thank you. Elephant in the room, Wikipedia. People get scared off about Wikipedia a little bit. Wikipedia is one use for a wiki. It's an encyclopedia built by a group. It's an extraordinarily useful resource. It has some issues. That's not what we're here to talk about, but I want to make it clear that wikis can be used for many things that don't have anything to do with Wikipedia. We're interested in providing you wikis to do the work that you do every day in your classrooms. Okay? So if there's any confusion about wikis versus Wikipedia, hope that puts them to bed. Okay, I'm going to show you now actually how to get started doing a few, and before you jump off that. Yeah, just show the rest of the points of this page. I want to show you just a few quick things: how to get started creating your own space, how to edit a page, how to create a link from one page to another page, and how to see page history. Okay? You're all of you with computers are welcome to follow along, or go to wikispaces.com right now and start playing yourself. And as you have questions, I'll be happy to answer them. I'm tied to something here.
You are tied. Right. You have to watch out. That's IE, right?
Either one. I'm sorry.
Not that.
Okay, we'll go ready.
I can't get far away, so you're on me.
Oh, I am? Sorry. Wikispaces.com. We have a stack of cards at the front here, which you should all pick up. 1 second. And they have a URL on the front you can go to get one of our free K-12 for educational wikis. I won't bother going through that right now because it's one extra step, but feel free to come and grab one. If you don't get one, come and speak to me.
If I can say something. If you have a question, if you'll hold it for a second, I'm going to show you how to embed a Meebo Me widget, and you'll actually be able to Meebo us an instant messages here in a second through our wiki for this class. And we'll let you IM your questions in just a second.
There we go. Okay. So is there something urgent that you wanted to bring up now? Otherwise, we can just go ahead.
Just in the introduction, where did Wiki come from?
Oh.
Yeah, the name means faster. Wiki means faster in Hawaiian. They use it for, there's a name of a shuttle bus in Hawaii, but it came from the guy who invented it back in the early 90s. Okay, this is our home page. To sign up, you just choose a username.
Real mouse.
Okay. Choose Adam at NECC 2007. Pick a password. Give me an email address. And pick a space name. And click join. Hopefully that's fairly straightforward. Now I have a user account on Wikispaces and I have a space. Okay? This is our wiki. I'm not going to go through all of it right now because we're limited on time, but I'll show you a couple of key concepts. See this button up here? Everyone see it? Now I want to read it. Edit this page. Right, we talked about that. I'm going to click that button. The page changes. This is a great looking audience. And click save. Okay? That's how simple it should be to change the contents of your page. Okay? What was the second thing I was going to show you and I remember? Linking. A space can have many pages in it. This is one page. To create a new page, I'm going to edit the page. Select the word I want to be a link.
They want to increase
Bigger
the
size.
Hold on, I've got.
You know, if those of you who are back by that silver panel by the door,
That's all right.
if you'll flip down the top switch
Yeah,
on
they
the
can
right-hand
see
side,
that. Yeah.
Okay.
Turn the lights down.
and then turn up the other lights.
I'll just tell you what you see.
They may be up already.
This word here says audience. I'm going to double click on it and select it. This button up here is our link button. I'm going to click it. It gives me a dialog that asks me what I'd like to link to. In this case, I'm just going to say link to a new page called audience. Click OK and save. This is not intended to be a tutorial. It's just intended to show you conceptually how things work on a wiki. But now I have a link to a page called audience. I can click it and now I'm on the audience page. Okay? Simple concepts, editing a page, linking to a new page. And then the final concept I was going to show you was history. Okay, at the top of every page there are some tabs here. They say page, discussion, history, and notify me. This history one is really important. Click on it, and what we can see is the two versions of the page that we have edited. The first one, if I click here, I can see in this case what's in green was what was added. So I added that sentence. If I go back to the second one, we can see that I made a change to a link. Okay, that's all I wanted to show you guys right now. I'm going to hand it off to Vicki. Are there any critical questions right now? Excellent.
Can you take off the ads?
Yes, all of your teacher spaces will not have ads on them. This is just a new one I created quickly, so it has ads on it. Sure, I'll come over and talk to you while Vicki takes over from here.
Okay, before I talk about the pedagogical uses of a wiki, this is open to edit, right?
Yep.
Okay, you can actually go to this wiki, and I'm going to show you how I would set up a very quick way for all of us in this room to share what we've learned at NECC. Now, do you want to talk about simultaneous editing or not? Is that
Get to that later. It works.
Okay, so you can actually edit at the same time now, which is new. I've never experienced it, but Adam says they just unveiled simultaneous editing, and those of you who don't use it, that's very exciting. I was learning the story myself. If you're a math teacher, all you do to make a new page is put in double brackets. It's great when you use a wiki to use small groups. I like to use groups of 2 or 3. Unless we're doing a very large collaborative project. I'll talk about that in a minute. And my wonderful friend from Bangladesh, Julie Lindsay, is here, and she's going to say a word, too, about our flat classroom project. So I'm just making some categories: math, English, history, science, cool gadgets, and names of people in the session. Now, I'm not asking you if there are any more pages, because if you want to create a page, once I save this, you can go create your own and add it to this page. Now, know that you do not have to have your wiki open for editing. This is an exception. In my classroom, some wikis I have are completely private. No one can see them. Only my students can edit them. Once I get into the high school level, only my students and approved people can edit, but I usually enable everyone in the world to discuss or go on to this discussion tab. So I'm going to save this, and what has happened is now I have some blank pages. Now when you go to the blank page, you go, oh, what is that? Well, all you do is click edit, and what I want you to do is to go in here and add the hyperlinks that you have found that are really incredible. Now, I need one more page. I'm going to say really cool websites, because I'm going to show you how to add a hyperlink on there for those of you who don't already know.
Are you wanting us to edit?
Oh, go ahead. Come on. Right here. Is it locked for editing?
No.
So what's the page address again?
Adam at NECC 2007.
And just reload the page at the browser.
Just
Yeah.
page.
Yeah.
Edit this page. There we go. So I'm going to say cool websites and save.
sorry?
Well, right now in Manage Space, I'm going to go
It's
check the
public.
permissions. In Manage Space, you come in here and you can look at your members and permissions, and it's protected. So we're going to make it public. Just a second. It is now public. I'm going to approve these, but you don't really have to. Here we go. It's public. It's updated. You should be able to edit now. Okay? So I'm going to go on to the main school websites here. Oh, Julie, remind us. We've been in the EduBloggers Cafe talking about cool websites, and now I'm drawing a blank. Okay, the one I'm about to use. I'm actually going to type like this, Mevo. And I'm going to highlight it, so I'm making a hyperlink. Type it in, highlight it. Come in, I'm putting an external link. Okay? And save. Okay? Hey, Danita, you're in here. Where are you? Hey, you're hidden. Okay, so now I have a hyperlink. Well, let me show you how I'm going to use this. Does anybody keep virtual office hours in here? Anybody have virtual office? We have one person. Oh, and I know who your wife is, and I know why you keep virtual office hours too. She keeps virtual office hours. She stays on with us on the Women of Web 2 show, so you have to. Okay, so this is Mevo. It interfaces with every single kind of IM that you can imagine. All your Skype, all your Gtalk, all your everything. You can set up the accounts in it's one place. But they have a really neat thing called Mevo Me. I'm actually going to go to the Mevo Me widgets. Does anybody use widgets? Widgets. Okay? So I'm going to come here and I'm going to copy a widget. This is going to enable you to chat us.
So just conceptually, one of the things we did with Wikispaces is we want to provide wikis that are easy to use, but we don't want to try to replicate everything else that's out there on the web. So we enable you. What Vicki's doing now is pasting in a widget onto a Wikispaces page. You can do that with any kind of widget, whether it's a video widget or an audio widget or a chat widget or some other kind of tool, a spreadsheet, a calendar. So you can use Wikispaces with any kind of Web 2.0 tool you like.
Now it's a little long. Usually I'll make them shorter and customize the widget, make it the color I want. But now somebody who's on this home page, click refresh and type in a chat. Save it. Somebody on this page, anybody on this page, type in the chat, press enter. I see some Mevo guests coming in on Cool Cat Teacher here. And it should chat. There we go. Oh, Julie was first. And it pops up on my screen that I have a question. It's a great way to have a wiki and have it set up. I believe in having a back channel in my classroom. You're teaching along, and you know the kids that like to get you off track. If you have a back channel, if you have a way that they can pop a chat up or pop a question up, it's a lot faster and more efficient. You can just keep on going. And I rarely stand up in front and lecture like this. It's usually more interactive. But it's a great way for them to be able to interject things without interrupting. Now, they also have something I haven't tested yet called Meebo Rooms. See how this is all popping up individually? A Meebo Room actually lets you put a chat room on anything, a blog, a wiki, anything. So it's not just a wiki, but when you use all these widgets, it makes it very useful. And we have lots of people coming in here saying hello, lots of guests. You can put your name in there. And the way I got the widget inserted, let me go back and show you. What I went and did was I copied the HTML or the embed code from Meebo. Right? And I went into the wiki, and I came in here, and I hit, it looks like a little TV button, embed media, and clicked on that and pasted the code in there and then clicked save. And it went there. I don't know, somebody just deleted my... Yeah, somebody just deleted my Meebo. Hey, if you see something that says custom, you know what? That's a great thing. Let's watch what happens. Somebody deleted my Meebo. Oh, no, I have to go do it again. No, I don't have to go do it again. Let's go look at where I was right here. This was the Meebo. I can actually come in here and copy. It lets you copy the widgets, doesn't it?
Nope.
Oh, you can't copy the widgets? Just what? Okay, we'll revert back to this page. Can't copy widgets, but... Now, I like to put in comments. Internet's starting to brag. It's all of us people editing the wiki here.
Browser's getting confused.
Is it getting confused? I know I have so much up on my screen. Okay, so it's back. Okay, so if you see something, if you look in here, it says custom. See that? Don't delete the custom thing. Custom thing, because that's your widget. Okay, so those who are already in there editing, you might want to click cancel, so we don't have to revert again. So we've got that up to kind of have our back channel going. I'll check that here in a second. We wanted to make sure that you have the basic pedagogical uses of the wiki. And the reason I started with wikis was because I had Pentium 3 computers, very old, very slow computers with 128 megs of RAM. Back in 05 and early 06. And when Adam named us Wikispace of the Month, we were on very old, slow computers and couldn't do any video and any of the fancy things, but we still had some great things going on. So that's why initially I selected it. I also selected it because I thought, I work with computer science, they need to know how to wiki. Well, how to wiki is a lot less relevant than teaching my subject now. Because I totally fell in love with it. We do cooperative learning at our school, genuine assessment, project-based learning, really try to use the research at the school. And it's really technology-enabled cooperative learning is what the wiki is. So here's how I use it. I've got some examples. Now, I'm going really fast. All of this is available at coolcatteacher.wikispaces.com. Okay? I'll throw that up here again in a minute, but it's coolcatteacher.wikispaces.com. I'll throw these slides up and you can follow the hyperlinks and all that sort of thing. I'll embed it in the wiki here in just a moment. I'll show you how. To summarize lessons, when we get done with lessons, or you know how you split them up in groups and you'll let them do, you look at this part of the lesson and you look at that part of the lesson and we'll all come back together, a jigsaw or different arrangements that we all use. They're great for summarizing lessons and sharing your learning. So every lesson I teach, a different team is assigned to work on the wiki. Now, in a moment, we're going to talk about global collaborative projects. And I start at the beginning with them sitting side by side, but I really want to break that verbal tether. So by the time I'm done, I'll actually assign one person on this side of the room and one person on that side of the room. And I'll make sure they're a little too far for comfort. So they'll be forced to use the technology and the discussion tabs to communicate effectively and to share. Also, notes collaboration. My students just were so excited when they learned how to do a wiki, and now that's how they review for their major tests. In fact, the students that are in the AP English program in 9th grade, when they learned how to do it, actually created their own wiki to have their notes, so that when they get ready to study for the AP exam for English, they'll have their notes on Macbeth that they took in 9th grade and all their key points in the plot. So they'll have it in one place. And the students actually created their own and collaborated. They did it for biology. They did it for Spanish. And every time that it comes, a major test or a major project, they actually create their own wikis and start sharing information, which is a great practice to get into. And cooperative learning. How many of you have to do cooperative learning lessons? Is required? Hopefully we all are. That's the way to learn. Excellent. A few of you are. I hope more will. Introduction to exploratory projects. Just like I did at the beginning, and I just threw those links up. So often we tell students way too much. I like to teach Socratically, and I allow Google searches in my classroom. I will ask a question. When I start teaching a wiki and they know nothing about it, I'll say, what's a wiki? Everybody looks at me blankly. I'll say, Google it. Who's first? They have to Google it. One person will say, oh, it's this, and one person will say, oh, it's that. Because when they say it, the simple act of looking at it on the screen, saying it in their own words, it becomes their knowledge and not something I've told them. If they're just sitting there listening, they'll forget, but we want to engage them and let them be more active. So when you do introductory projects and you just put the vocabulary out there, and it's more than vocabulary, but when you just put the objectives of what you're trying to accomplish out there and just let them fill in the knowledge. And I treat it usually like an encyclopedic type entry. I always say wikis are for fact. Your blog is for opinion. That's how I do it in my classroom. There's other people that do it other ways, but I like wiki for fact because I believe that's part of being a good digital citizen. If you're doing a group editing, unless that group says we're specifically going to write a fiction story, most wikis are for fact. So you would hate for somebody to think, oh, I'm going to do a parody in the middle of your research wiki. No, it doesn't belong there, unless it's intently expressed that that's what it's for. Our e-folios that we do, I do a portfolio project. Half of it is on paper because I want them to have a copy of the MLA structure and have that. I want them to have a copy of their resume. I want them to have that. But they also do it on the wiki. They embed the videos that they've made. We don't put all our videos on the wiki, but if it passes my test, which is pretty strict, it passes privacy and it protects them and they're wise about it, and it's an excellent quality video, then I will let them either upload it to YouTube or Photo Bucket, which is non-searchable, great place to put student videos, and let them put those up as well. They're great for rewards. Even if you don't let your students edit the wiki, if you want to get your top students to do more than your rubric says to get the 100, you want every single student in your classroom to go up a notch from wherever they are, right? That means the top needs to be challenged. The bottom needs to come up. Everybody needs to move up a level. It makes us feel good about ourselves when we improve, and it's so demotivating to have a teacher say, oh, that's 100, that's enough. So I have a wiki that's my awards wiki, and I say, okay, the greatest wiki looks like this. You can find it at westwood.wikispaces.com, and I have my awards there. Awards for blogs. And you say, this is what excellence looks like. These are my award-winning wikis. You've created an incredible wiki or incredible blog, or even something in your classroom. Incredible essay or incredible whatever you're creating. Recognize students on your wiki. I use it for classroom organization. I pull an RSS feed, and we'll show you how that looks in a minute, from my blog. So everything pulls into my wiki. But the big things that I found out are 5 things. Number 1, small edits. Even though you can do simultaneous editing, if you have a student at the beginning of class who opens up a page and leaves it up the whole class period, this is not a word processor. This is not Microsoft Word. It's different. You will be happier with your experience if you say, go out and find one piece of information about this and say, because when they do that, their partner can go, oh, Susie wrote this, but I think she's missing a little bit here. And so they go and they find another link or another source of information and they post it. I do not allow copying off the internet. It must always be synthesized and summarized. It must be made more concise. Put in your own words. You cannot just copy. Communicate with your partner, and this means the discussion tab. This is where you talk about the content of a page. Now, if you have a technology plan that you're creating on a wiki, has anybody done a technology plan on a wiki? I did mine and opened it up to the public, and I had people all over the country telling me what to get for my perfect computer lab. And I had a better computer lab because of it. Because people actually went in, I put it on my blog, I said, hey guys, I need some help. I'm trying to get the perfect thing, and I'm paralyzed, I don't want to cut the PO, I have PO paralysis because I want to make sure I get the right thing, So they actually helped me. Use the history. The first thing when you start a wiki, kids are so used to teachers grading stuff and throwing it in the trash can. They're not used to having an audience. It's one reason I think so many kids are demotivated, is because they don't have an audience. So what some students will do is they're the bottom feeders of projects. When you put a project together, usually the way teachers pair them is, okay, Johnny is really smart, and I know that he'll do the whole project if he has to, and these two over here won't, so I'll put them together so I can feel good like I made everybody do a project. The great thing about the wiki is that you can make sure that everyone has participated. Because what will happen is the person who kind of feeds off of Johnny will add a period and click save, and then take the period away and click save, and put in a comma and click save, and take the comma and say, oh, Miss Vicki, I did 4 edits. And what I do is, after the first day of wikiing, the beginning of class the next day, I'll go in and say, I noticed some editing. And the students have usernames that are not their real names. So sometimes they end up knowing each other's names, but a lot of times they don't. So I'll go in and say, okay, but let's look at what this person did. This person did a great job. Look at their edits. They have 10 edits. Look how they really refined this, or they found it wasn't accurate, or they cited their source, or they did this. And then, look over here, I'm comparing this, and it's showing that a period in green. I mean, somebody added a period. Well, that's good, it needed a period. Well, let's look at the next edit, and it shows a period in red, highlighted in red. Well, that means they deleted a period. Okay, well, why are you inserting and deleting a period? I can see every single thing. Plus, using the Notify Me tab, if you click on Notify Me, it'll actually tell you over your RSS reader, or if you're not comfortable with RSS, it'll email you every single change that happens to your wiki or your discussion tab. So you see that a student added a period and took a period away and added a comma and took a comma away. You have total 100% management, and it is done more in my projects to make sure that every single student comes up to actually have the ability to track down to the comma the contribution of every single student. Do not let them say, well, we're going to sit side by side and work together. You're going backwards if you do that. I hold every student accountable for their username. I'm sorry. You have to do the work yourself. You have got to force them to do that, or you're letting the bottom feeders stay in your classroom. And our goal is for every student to be a contributor, because when they contribute, they become an active learner, they become part of it, and they learn. And Adam, I think we're going to go to you about safe wikis.
So one of the things that we have to deal with as a wiki provider is teachers' objections to using wikis. Does anyone have any objections, questions that they think, well, this probably won't work for me because? Sir? So on the back of the card here, it answers that question. Basically, no. We can set up accounts for you without email addresses. We know that a lot of teachers don't want to expose that information. That is one of the objections we hear. Any others? Any other objections people can think of?
It's not objections, just she was talking about maybe like a discussion. And I clicked on discussion, and I went to help because I thought maybe there's a tutorial.
Yes.
And I didn't want to get deep into it and lose it. So when you talk about 2 or 3 or 4 things, and I don't see it, and I kind of lose it. So I was wondering
if you will
They want us to go to the tabs.
Okay, yeah, we'll come back to that. We'll definitely look at the discussions. Let me go through the objections just quickly. Good work, sir. Making student accounts. I don't want our students to have email addresses. They don't have email addresses. We can't give you their email addresses. Fine. We can set up user accounts for your students with just a username and a password. There's absolutely no question of privacy or anything like that. That's really important.
I'm sorry, you said you can make it up or we can make it up?
The way you do it right now is you email us a list of usernames and passwords. We will probably expose the tool to you guys at some point fairly shortly, but we just haven't done that yet. Private versus public. There's this concept that wikis are public. As Vicki said, you can have different levels of access. You can have a fully public wiki. You can have a fully private wiki. You can have protected wikis, which mean that people can see the wiki, but they can't edit it. You get to decide who gets into your wiki and who doesn't. So we provide full privacy features for you. Obviously, you don't want your students' work out there in the public necessarily all the time. You don't necessarily want anyone in the public to contribute to your wiki. Structure versus freeform. This one's a little bit more esoteric. A lot of us think in terms of structure. We think of a project, let's think through exactly how this is going to work ahead of time. What are the categories going to be? What form we want people to write in? How do we want it laid out? Exactly who's going to do what and when. Wikis are more suitable for a freeform project, and there's an important reason for that. When contributors, whether they're students or teachers or anyone else, have a chance to contribute not just content, but to the structure of the project, you get a sense of ownership. So what we suggest is when you're doing your projects, when you're doing your wikis, allow your students to contribute to the way the content is going to be structured. And you can always manage it over time and change it, move this here, change that topic, change things around, but allow it to evolve over time instead of spending 12 hours ahead of time setting everything up, allow things to evolve. Does that make sense to people? Anyone no idea what I'm talking about? Okay, thank you. Installation options. As I said before, we want to provide wikis. We are focused on K-12, but there are plenty of other ways to get a wiki. Moodle, which some of you may be familiar with, has a wiki option in it. There are other providers out there like us that will allow you to start a wiki on their website. There are software options you can download, open source ones that you can install on your own servers. There are lots of different ways to get a wiki. Speak to your IT people about what's best for you. Don't feel like there's just one way. Try them all, see which one works best for you. And the final objection we get from people is, well, that's great, but I need some guidance. I need some examples. Educationalwikis.wikispaces.com is a site set up specifically for teachers to share best practices, share examples, list their own wikis, so that everyone can see what other people are doing and get inspired, share their problems, give each other answers. So that might be the first place you go to if you want to start thinking about what you can do in your own classroom. This is the graphic we use just to show that we're trying to give away 100,000 free wikis for teachers, and we've given away about 30,000 right now. So please spread the word to everyone you know.
Okay. And I'm
What's
going
the
to talk
limit
about
on space, by the way? What's the limit on space?
On storage space?
Yes, please.
There's a technical limit of something like 2 or 5 gigabytes, but the reality is that disk space is just so cheap these days that we don't really count it. So just use whatever you like.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, a terabyte disk drive costs about $100 these days, so go nuts. Good luck.
Okay. Someone has asked, do we have instructions available for you? And we do. I'll go back to my very first slide here, if I can. There's a great free conference called the K-12 Online Conference. I don't know how many of you participated in it. Wonderful, wonderful conference. And if you look at this link right here, last fall I presented at that conference, and the way you present there is you create a video or you create whatever and upload it. There's actually an 18-minute video that walks you through all of what we're going through today that I created when I was still pretty much a beginner, kind of to help me not forget. But And it will give you a tutorial. There's also a workbook to download, and if you are one that likes to take notes, I have to write everything down or forget it. Download the workbook first, and then go through the video, and you can take notes as you go, and that will really guide. It's kind of like your own free wiki class. And I've had people all over the country and world email me that that's kind of how they started with wikis, kind of in the privacy of your own classroom. We're so overloaded. We love conferences, but we get so overloaded, and you've got Drupal and Moodle and all these things mixed up in your head probably. So when you go back, you can go to that link, and that will help you as well. I don't think I remember where I was here. We are going to show you
You going backwards?
I don't know why. I've got so much running on here that I have been pushing my computer to the limit there. There we go. It's going to be embedded on the Cool Cat Future Wiki. I was going to do that and demonstrate it. If you embed it, I'm going to give you some websites that are my favorite things. Also in the Bloggers Lounge, I went through and interviewed all the bloggers that were in there and asked them to tell me their favorite things to embed in a wiki. So I learned a few things about an hour ago that I'm going to share with you that I've learned. So this is the project that won the Horizon project that Julie and I finished in May. We have two main projects that we've done using wikis. Julie is a teacher was a teacher at the international school at Dhaka. She's in the process of moving to Qatar. And she and I connected through the K-12 online conference, through our blogs, and did two projects that I'll talk about in a moment. That wikis enable you to connect students from around the world in ways that we're just beginning to understand. And if you look at this team, Casey was the project manager. We have Alicia from China. We have, I don't see her name. That's Salma from Bangladesh. That's one of Julie's students. Casey from the U.S. Shamisa from Australia. Katrina from China. Christina from China. Sophie from Austria. Christy from the U.S. Andrew from the U.S. and Sasha from China. That actually created the wiki on social networking. Now, when we get done with our projects, we always ask for them to write their reflections for us. And this is quotes from the actual students, how it challenged them, how it gave them meaning, and how important it was to them. And it's truly changed their lives. Casey is actually going to be published in the upcoming Coming of Age 2 that Terry Friedman from England is putting out. Now, here are the two projects. The Flat Classroom project, some of you may have heard of. It's just won the Telelearning Award for this year from Zigtel. And we studied the flatteners in Thomas Friedman's The World is Flat. It was between Julie and I. We used wikis as the primary tool, although when I show you all the tools we used, you'll be very impressed. And I was hoping that Julie, my friend Julie here, would come up and tell us a little bit about Horizon, because I'd like you to meet her. Julie and I did not actually meet face-to-face until this past Saturday. And we are proof. We've worked together probably well over 200 hours. We are proof that you can establish professional relationships literally around the globe. We had a 12-hour time difference. And our joke was Saturday was the first time we could actually say good night both at the same time, because we always say good night, good morning. Good night, good morning. We never could say the same thing at the same time until Saturday. So we've had a great time and we're both exhausted. But I would like her just to tell a little bit about the Horizon Project. If you're going to look at the rubrics, everything is open for you to view. Horizon Project has the best rubric. Julie and Paul Fairbrother from the International Baccalaureate Program, and Terry Friedman and Jeff Utecht and many experts in education really helped us develop an incredible rubric. And we had one rubric for 5 classrooms there. And Julie, if you just want to say a quick word.
Yeah, thanks, Vicki. Hi, everyone. Just to reiterate what Vicki's been saying, that the wiki interface is just so ideal for classroom use. And in fact, I run my classrooms as a wiki-centric environment. And then to move into a project like this, I know is looks about to blow up. To move into a collaborative project, of course, is sort of another step along the track. But the wiki just provides all of the sort of resources that you need for the students to interact, to collaborate, to post their content, to be able to embed certain devices there. I'd just like to say that the 5 classrooms that we gathered together, of course, we weren't all at the same level technologically. So we did provide training materials. Of course, all of the training materials are on the wiki as well. If you do go to these URLs, everything is there. Vicki and I are very transparent in sharing what we've done. So there are nothing's a secret with us. Okay, so please go to the URLs, have a look at all of the student work is there, the wiki pages that the students have created, the resources that we used right throughout the project, please contact us if you'd like anything answered. But Horizon, we actually sort of thought, well, after Flat Classroom, how far can we take this? And we sort of just kept adding things on. We added global peer review sounding board classrooms. We added a more extensive judging system with international judges. In fact, we added an educator's Ning, which is hyperlinked from the wiki. But we had about 35 different educators around the world working with us on this particular project, all right, and looking at the relevance of Web 2.0 tools for global collaboration. And of course, it's all wiki-centric.
The Horizon Project, we studied the Horizon Project 2007 and the researchers, and that's about the future of college education and the 6 trends that will be shaping college education in the next 1 to 5 years. You can download it on the internet, it's free. And the researchers actually sent our students delicious links, and we pull those delicious links in through RSS. I'll show you that here in just a moment. This is our Horizon Project. It was created April 4th. It's had over 40,000 hits. It's well more than that now. 58 students, 48 videos, 6 peer-review classrooms, and a total of 9 countries were represented in this project. This is our cluster map, which shows you the people that have looked at this project from around the world. And it was just really an extremely exciting project to work with. This is our structure. Students are always at the center of the classroom. I like to say that used to the teacher was the sun and the students were the planets. Now the students are the planets and the teacher is in a spaceship flying around the planets. That's really more how it should be and how it works. So we had experts, we had peer reviewers. The world could send information through the bookmarks. Now if you go to Horizon Project and you try to join, we won't let you. Students edit. Experts edit. We have a few people that were carefully screened to be part of the project from around the world to give them a global audience who have a vested interest in the future of education and how this needs to work. We also had observers and the press, and we had a private need. Here was our communication structure. Wiki at the center, wiki-centric, great for asynchronous communication. We did use some email, but you know what? I just heard Mark Wagner in his session talk about how kids don't like to email, and they don't. They don't check their email. So we actually unblocked Facebook just for this project, and it worked beautifully. If you're trying to connect classrooms from around the world, you have to figure out how to do that. And I believe there's some filters that will unblock on an hourly basis. I actually have full access to my filter. I'm IT director also. So I went in before class, unblocked Facebook, after class reblocked it again. So they wouldn't get off task at other times. But that really helped us take the project much further. And then we used Illuminate for our virtual classroom to have our meetings and discussions. But the great thing is you can record and Illuminate. So if somebody couldn't attend, somebody was always asleep, somebody was always in class, and somebody was always hanging out having dinner. We call it the project that never sleeps. So we could record and Illuminate and post it to the wiki. And if you go to the Student Summit, you can see our sessions. Just remember, our classroom, and I'm sure your classroom, if you're telling the truth, they're not perfect places. We have regular issues to deal with, so you'll get to see us in all of our glory there. I do want to show you this slide. This is in the Coming of Age 2. I've written an article about the effective Web 2 classroom and did a lot of thinking and reflecting and talking to other teachers. And this is what I believe the components of an effective Web 2 classroom. It will be on my presentation, but the one I want to point out is the engaged teacher. A lot of people think all these tools are going to be able to get rid of the teacher. That is totally incorrect. Teacher's more important than ever. You've got to be that spaceship running around directing the students, observing the students, helping every student come up a notch, improve, coaching them up that. So the engaged teacher is the foundation of an effective Web 2 classroom. Now these are the tools that were used. Yes, we use Second Life. We used a lot of different tools. I do not recommend using Second Life in the classroom. They were actually observing virtual worlds and their use in the classroom. And I had 4 students on that team. Got permission from the parents for them to go in Second Life just for this project. Blocked it just for this project. And when they were in Second Life, they were in one row right in front of my desk with me observing at all times. So I knew what went on, but they had to make observations on what they think the future of virtual worlds is. Their recommendation, Team Grid is not ready for education. That was their recommendation, not mine, from around the world. Because the first thing that happened when they went to the Team Grid of Second Life was somebody handed them a gun. Yes, it was an umbrella gun and it shot umbrellas, but it was a gun. And they got a bubble gun, and they got a this gun and a that gun. And a lot of kids are in there, you know, the great things going on right now are in islands and they're not letting anybody in. So 3D worlds have great potential, but it's not quite there yet. But anyway, you can embed all these different tools. And if you know the NECC standards, I believe it's the standard number 4, peers, experts, and other audiences and multiple audiences. We're going to have to rethink the walled garden. Walled gardens have been created that are more like plastic or huge walls that won't let anything through. And they really need to be sharpness. They need to let a lot of great things in and out and just keep out the sharks, the things that are illegal, the things we must protect kids from. Those things need to be kept out. But this habit of, I think it's called, whitelisting, where you have to specifically type in the things that are allowed, but otherwise everything's blocked. Terrible, awful practice. You'll find that most students, once you train them on digital citizenship, will police themselves better than you ever could. Okay, these are the coolest things to embed in a wiki. Did you have anything else you wanted to throw in? The coolest things to embed in a wiki. I've already shown you one, which is Mevo. Actually, before I do that, I've got to keep a promise. You said we would show the discussion tab. Okay.
It actually occurred to me why you weren't able to post a discussion. We don't allow people who are not logged into the website to post discussions. That's to prevent discussion spam. But if you log in, it'll be much more obvious what's going on.
Okay. So let's look at social networking. This was a great group. You can see the summary video that the project manager made. We actually had project managers for each of the 6 teams. They were selected from Black Classroom. Students who mastered Black Classroom and global collaboration actually moved and now have managed a project with 12 members from 5 different countries. And if you look, those of you who are from the United States, the jobs that are going to be left here are going to be the ones where people are creative and they also are collaborative and they're able to manage teams. So if you look at the tabs at the top of the page tab is what Adam looked at, but this is the discussion tab, and this is the really exciting thing. If you look here, we had 98 discussions on this particular thing. And you have Graham Wender from Australia. His class gave peer feedback. So they actually gave feedback on it. You can see a lot of different peer feedback that went on with other students in other classrooms from around the world who gave feedback there. But if you look at it, they communicated. Important video questions. Here are my questions. These are the questions I want you to answer in your video. They had to outsource part of their video to their partner. Okay, so Alicia said, what the future will look like. That's the topic of her videos. I want you to answer this. What social networking websites do you commonly use? Do you see social networking evolving into a more educational purpose? If yes, how so? How do your teachers feel about social networking? Is it popular in your school? And what do you see in the future of social networking? Can anyone just take themselves answering these questions? It doesn't matter. Take 2 minutes and send it to me. If she posts her email, I've got to go back and delete that one. So we do have to go in and delete. But see, not appropriate. Yes, I can delete that. Okay, I didn't catch that one. That's a little more recent. But they can go in there and they can communicate to one another about the project and answer each other's questions. This is what I want. And her formulated those questions. The recommendation of that social networking team, do you know what it was for education? It was that we stop calling it social networking. They want their home life and their school life to be separate. They do not want to do math on MySpace. They don't. They want that to be where they hang out. They want us to create areas where they can network for student purposes. They really don't want to have to do school stuff in their personal place. Just like we don't want to carry work home, sometimes we have to have a break. Why are we trying to force fit things into these other areas? And that's why we're looking at adding a name for our future projects to give a student networking side of it. They also said, you educators are spending all this time fighting DOPA, which is against social networking. The solution is call it student networking and get it classified differently. Let them outlaw social networking and let student networking be defined as something different that is allowed. You're like, 10th graders, thank you. For us adults, we didn't think of that. So they just did a great job. You can see the history tab and all the changes. Say I wanted to look at what Kathleen 415 did, and I want to compare it to Katrina. I click select, and I click compare, and inserted text is in green and deleted text is in red. Well, let's see what happened here on this one. You can see ToonDo. Those are ToonDos that they embedded, toondo.com. I don't see. It was probably a small edit because this is a monstrous page.
So
I passed it.
So we have about 12 minutes. Do you want to take some questions?
Yes, we can take some questions. Let me throw up here while we take the questions. I'm going to just kind of so y'all can get some of these slides and URLs as we're answering questions. We'll just throw these up, and anything you can make a widget for, you can use the little TV button. My kids call it the YouTube button. It does more than YouTube. But you can take, if it says embed, if it says HTML, you can copy that out of your widgets and paste it into the wiki. So you can put Meebos and Google Maps and all that sort of thing. And so as we take these questions, I have about 4 slides of these, and just kind of wave at me when you've got them copied. Those of you who just have to have them in your notebook like I always do, I'll forward them as we do that.
So we have about 10 minutes. We've covered a lot of area. Any questions on any topic, we're happy to take them. It will be on the coolcatteacher.wikispaces.com website.
Yes, and I'll blog it on my Cool Cat Teacher blog, which there's a little button that says blog posts that have to do with this session. You can click on that and it'll go to my blog post once it's blogged. Yes, ma'am.
What was the one that you said was the cartoon?
ToonDo. TOON, and I'll type it on this slide. I can't believe I forgot it. I was going to type it on that slide. It'll get there. I'm really pushing my little computer here. www.toondo.com. You can make cartoons in about less than 5 minutes and embed them in anything, and kids love it. And you can keep them private, but they can even publish them. You can do it in multiple ways. You can copy and paste it on a poster and blow it up. There's just so many great things that you can do with ToonDo.
More questions?
Is it possible? Could you show us how to embed the Meebo thing again?
That was fast.
Yeah, that was.
Okay. How about we take a couple more questions and then I'll show the embedding again. I may embed something else.
The slide show going to be available?
coolcatteacher.wikispaces.com. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Is it possible to moderate the discussion tab?
The question was it possible to moderate the discussion tab? On Wikispaces, we do not implement moderation. What we do allow you to do is to monitor everything that goes on in the wiki, either by RSS or by email, and then you can delete anything that you don't like. Some people have asked us for moderation. We'll consider it, but at the moment, no.
I like to speak to that. I think it's important to teach students how to communicate, and if you're doing it with younger children, you should just make it a private space, and when issues happen, you should deal with them immediately. You should handle it immediately, and eventually you won't have those sorts of problems.
Embed an icon or a podcast?
Oh yes, that Odeo does podcasts. Any of the podcast places, yes, you can do. You can even do PDFs and actually upload the PDFs. You can upload pictures. You can link from Flickr. Anything that you can put in a web page, you can put in here. I've never found anything I couldn't embed. I think at the beginning there were, but Adam and them, they respond so fast, I think they don't sleep. It's amazing.
More questions, please.
I want to mention bubble.us. I just learned about this today. This is like, if you like Kidspiration but you don't have the budget, bubble.us, anybody used it already? It's like a Kidspiration, but you can do it and you can embed it in your wiki or just use it like a Kidspiration. It's free. Mevo Room lets you put chats in.
Please.
The email notifications have not been sending me the discussion changes. Is that something that's in the works, or do I have to do RSS to get those?
So
It will send me page changes,
Yeah.
but not discussion changes.
you get emails about discussion follow-ups to your messages, but not necessarily all of them. That's probably something we should.
Students have posted some questions there, and I never saw them because they didn't personally email.
Drop me an email to remind me. We'll fix that.
Eventually, you'll want to get NetVibes or page. I require all of my students to have an RSS reader. That's required. They like NetVibes or Page Flakes or Blog Lines. I like to show my students choices and let them choose appropriate because we're trying to develop thinking skills. If I just stand up in front and say, click here and do this and do that, then I'm not, they'll be outdated in 2 years. So most of them like NetVibes and Page Flakes. And they subscribe to the pages that they edit so they can keep track of their things. I think this is interesting right here. If you work in Second Life or if you're doing things with big groups, you can embed a Second Life location in your wiki where you click on it, it'll actually take them in Second Life to that location. I'm going to here, which is kind of weird.
More questions? Yes, sir.
I have a question about copyright. Let's say you made a video, a student made a video on YouTube, did a digital story, and grabbed something maybe from Google Images or something like that. Is there any copyright infringement on that? I guess the question is, if you keep it private and just for student uses, is there potential copyright infringement? Or if you did it with your project?
I'm not a legal expert. That I do train them on Creative Commons. I do ask them to make sure they have that it's Creative Commons license, and they license theirs Creative Commons, share alike, non-derivative, attribution 3.0. I think is what they have to do, which basically means that it can be shown but not changed and not you can't take a derivative off of it. That's really a tough area because turnitin.com will go through and highlight everything that's been plagiarized. I think we're going to have to get to the point with digital media that we have a turnitin.com for Web 2. We need like a turnitinweb2.com or something that will go through our videos and go through, because a lot of us teachers are struggling with it. And I do make my students use music that is from the Creative Commons, but when you're working with other countries, their copyright laws are different. So a lot of this is a gray area that we're working through and hoping that, it's just an area we're having to work through.
When you have students uploading to YouTube, do they do it through their teacher account? Or do they do it?
They do it through their own account, but they're not allowed to do it without my review.
Okay.
If it's in the wiki, and I know every change that goes in there, and I really don't have a problem with it. You don't teach them how to do that until you have them trained in how to do it. And I would never teach them, I usually have for a good semester before I would ever even consider videos, ever.
Yes, sir. Back.
Any advice for convincing administrators that you should be using these tools?
Well, first of all, I would tell you that when you do a wiki, that you need to tell them, okay, just unblock my wiki. Some people in IT say, I can't unblock all wiki spaces because that would mean I have to unblock everything. They can unblock your specific URL. Make it private, have them unblock that specific URL, and the way that I justified it to mine is I had to do a cooperative learning lesson plan. I said I'm going to use cooperative learning. I use a jigsaw. I'm going to use think, pair, share. Actually, the first one I did was a think, pair, share. And justify it based on what administration does understand. If they're good administration, they do understand these terms. Talk in the terms they understand and say, I'm using technology-enabled cooperative learning or technology-enabled genuine assessment. And they have the research. To me, researching a wiki is like researching a pencil. It is a tool. It is a method to publish. It is not. It can be used in good ways and bad ways, just like the internet can be used in good and bad ways. It's a medium. So that's what I would do. Start small, start very protected. You know their comfort zone is. Don't push them and say, I want to do a flat classroom project or a Horizon project. I would never. That would be like throwing somebody on I-75 and they've never driven. You wouldn't do that. You would start driving around the block or backing out of the driveway so they could just run over the mailbox and not hurt themselves.
Please.
Can you give me some comments on using an LMS like Blackboard or Webs for teachers is just using the Wiki?
I have no experience with those, so I can't. But
Julie, you use Blackboard and what do y'all use in DACA?
the question was the difference between using something like Blackboard versus using a wiki. Does anyone have experience with
Well,
Blackboard?
I'll tell you that when you're dealing in a protected environment, a lot of times you can't get an RSS feed out. I think you just have to use what's appropriate. I think there's a new, isn't there a wiki feature now in the new Moodle? Yes. Yes. I know that when I got started, I tried about 4 wiki platforms, and Wikispaces I thought was easy to use because you want them to learn it as quickly as possible. You do not want to focus on the point and click. You want to focus on your subject matter so that it's a quick return on investment. Because if you have to spend 2 weeks teaching them how to wiki, you do not have that kind of time in your curriculum. You want to get the focus away from the technology and on what you're trying to teach.
Is there anything else? We've got about a minute left. Yes, sir.
How much time does it take you to keep track of all the editing done by all the students?
I just go in blog lines, and every edit's delivered to me through RSS, and so I can really scan through it in 4 or 5 minutes. I can look through and see what's happening because most of my projects are multi-day, so I just go in there and click on it and just go through all of it. I would never do it over email. I really think that educators need to have an RSS reader. RSS reading is something you don't understand unless you do it. You need, and I could not understand it, and then I did it, and it was like, oh, I understand. That should be the very first thing that a teacher does, is if you don't have an RSS reader, go to NetVibes, go to Bloglines. You can always go to my blog. I have some tips on it, fullcatteacher.blogspot.com, and the presentations are also on the wiki. We're almost over, but what I'll do is stand here for a moment, and those who are trying to figure out how to embed, I'm going to do it one more time after Adam concludes this, whatever he needs to say.
Yeah, no, thank you very much for coming. I'll be around for a little while if you have any more questions. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Is the code on the card linked to the card, or may I share it?
Oh, please, share it.
It's going to be posted at fullcatteacher.spaces.com.
Educator on our first day. Well, I have to then email you that I had another space for one time classified as a teacher or anything I had.
You can use that URL to bring this
with my existing account.
So how do I find out about this RSS reader?
Actually, on my blog, I've got a thing on the left-hand side that says how to use RSS. If you just go to NetVibes and set up an account,
That's not something that you
all of these tools that I want you to use are RSS is underlying address. It is what allows us to do all of these things so easily. It is the most important special graphic tool that I've ever used. Like I look at my blog lines and I can go to my blog lines and show you. But even this, like my Gmail, this is actually an RSS bookmark, and it shows me all the latest emails that I've got. So it's a way to take to custom. It's like a custom page. So you start up on the page, and it delivers to you all the information. It pushes it, yes. Right, exactly. It's literally a magazine. Yes, and it's simple.
Yeah, I don't have a computer right now. The second link is
I follow what other people are doing.
Hi, I'm Michelle.
So I have to
Just wanted to say that enjoyed the presentation. My colleague enjoyed Vicki.
if you go to Net Vibes, you can just go in there and
Struggling a little bit, as you know, I was sort of slow on my
netvibes.com, and you can just go in there
So it's like-
and see. They set up.
Oh, nice!
Actually, this is not logged in. There's NECC 2007,
So I just
and it's got Web 2 education. It's got all kinds of different things that it's pulling. That's my blog. It's pulling in from Cool Cat Teachers. That's my blog right there. This is pulling in from Carl Fish right there.
Yeah, well,
This is pulling in from other blogs. Jeff Utek right there. So it actually pulls all of the things in. Netvibes.com. See, there's USA Today. You can make notes in there and to-do lists, and it'll pull stuff off of Looker. So it depends on what you're going to get a lot in blog over RSS. So it lets you customize your blog. Update, school site. So I can set up the school blog and this. That's the helm. I want to go to the homepage and look at and I literally go in there. Counselor wanted to send out updates. I made it so that but if you go in there and see all this is done automatically, all this is done automatically, the calendar is done automatically, all this is over RSS. And see, they can subscribe here. So if they want to get the photo feed, I've got it set up so that they could actually subscribe to the photo. So everything RSS. See, when I click on RSS, this is what it does. If I want to subscribe to the Western News, I click that button. And then I've already got blog lines set up, so I say, okay, I want to subscribe to that. And what folder I want to put it. And it just puts it right in the folder, and I can go and I don't have to read that up. I can mark it on this and start over But it's very hard to understand what it is. Someone say, oh, I read your blog. Bookmarks are, you already use RSS? Bookmarks are a pain and nobody looks at them. But RSS is like, just choose your startup page. Or you can go in there and look at it. Pulling in the bookmarks pulling in current news. Type in something so like I actually hometown news I have RSS feed, I have a blog line. Every single thing that's been posted that day just pops out of you. Some principals do it with your school name. So that if it's been posted to any newspaper anywhere in the country, it'll come through the feed so that they can follow it. And they don't have to Google their school name. I do it with my own name. So that you can actually hear about things before anybody else does. Okay. I created it. I created a blog on the blog. And I use something called Feedburner, which makes a feed into something that can go on a web page. And so when I did, and I got on my website, if you go on my website, I do RSS your website, and we'll pop up the post. Webmaster RSS, and it will show how to do it step by step. Every time I do something, I write down how I did it, so So it's RSS your website, and so she actually updates the blog. And when it goes here, it automatically goes into the web. So she doesn't, nobody has access to this. I don't know if it's view. I don't know any of that stuff. She updates it. And she doesn't have it. And it feeds immediately. I mean, within less than a minute. And Flickr the same way. I upload these pictures, and this actually rotates the pictures. And it comes off on Flickr. The secretary keeps RSS calendar, which is another free one. All these are free. This is another free one. And the calendar pops up here automatically. On the page today, it pops up here. And then I pull off the
So it's a flash player.
monthly view. Here's the monthly view. Here's the monthly view. Parents can subscribe over here.
Takes what it takes.
I mean, it's just, if you just sit down and follow that RSS, it's just so easy. But literally, secretary knows nothing about it. Fullcatteacher.blogspot.com.
Yeah, the way it works right now.
Just type it in. If not, just email me, and I will.
Yeah, so at the moment, we're a bit reluctant to let people do that themselves because it looks weird. And there are a lot of bad people out there. So
Well, I'm about to be in another group of people, the women of Web 2, that is just for teachers in Web 2. But we're actually going to talk about all of the amazing Web 2 stuff. So that's where I'm about to run.
The earliest one I put so far is like check and try that.
Oh, really? Thank you. Oh, yeah. Going on the tab and going, because when they make a new page and you don't know it's there.
Yeah.
That statewide notification. Oh, it's huge. But if you just subscribe, and everything's it's really the teacher's best friend. But unfortunately, the geeks have hidden behind something I mean,
really simple, but it's really simple if I saw it ours.
I call it super easy breaking. That's what it is. It's really, really easy. Thanks for coming by. Yes. To put you do double brackets. This button right here. Bracket, in front of the word.
Double bracket.
And bracket. No, double bracket works, and if you go to that video tutorial, it will show you how to do everything, because we really didn't, we all really didn't have time to, show everything. Thanks very much. Thanks, Julie.
No worries. I still have a say hi to Adam.
Adam, I can run my next one.
Do you want me to grab you something? Something? But thank you so much for that, because I started
I would love to be able to.
I guess at the end of, not this past year, but the year before that. I did it right at the end of school, just to do a collaborative exam review. And that was a great way to start, because it showed me all the problems and stuff. Because some of the kids were getting on there and
This one
treating it as a social
At first, and then you.
But it was great to do it at the end of the year, because then I knew, okay, next year when we start out with the group, we'll have to have some guidelines.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. People who fail and the people say, "Oh, let's wiki and have fun."
I know.
They don't know what to do. You have to have a structured.
Well, we don't have official chat next school, so.
But see, that's why I always throw up the prompts. I always have prompts, or just a little bit of headings, or just a little bit, just enough to do that.
Pages set up. One of them was a sandbox for them to play, and that's where they play.
Oh, yeah.
And that's all they do.
Yeah, play.
But, how long? You're using all of this tools over how many years did you do this?
I started in November 2005.
2005?
Yes. I did. I use my RSS reader, and I follow the blogs of some really great people, and I blog about it myself. So when I blog about it, people say, "Oh, Vicki, that's not right," or "That is right," or when I say I have a problem, they'll say, "Oh, this is the answer." And if my learning curve is just so much comprehensive, that's why I believe every single teacher should have an RSS.
This has just been so much fun.
And you can start off just by subscribing to CoolCat Teacher. I mean, you can subscribe to whatever.
I've got one. I just set one up about a year ago and forgot to check it. Now
I don't know, but I know.
Yeah. Most people don't even know the point of RSS. But if
you're making it a daily practice when you're busy and doing it.
That's my recorder right
yeah.
now.
Yes.